I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice. Let us begin. You wake up and everything feels fine. Not broken, not chaotic, just quiet, still, numb. You move through your day. You check the boxes. You smile when it's required. You say the right things. You function. But beneath it all, there's a quiet ache. A feeling that something's missing. Not dramatically, not tragically. Just a faint question that never fully goes away. What am I even doing this for? You look at others who seem lit up, driven, alive. They speak with clarity, move with purpose, and you wonder if they know something you don't. Because you've tried. You've read the books, written the goals, tried to find your passion. Tried to care about things that didn't land. Tried to push through the fog with more structure, more discipline, more lists. But none of it woke you up. Because the truth is this: you're not unmotivated. You're not lazy. You're not broken. You're just trying to find purpose from the outside in, when it was never out there to begin with. That's why nothing sticks. That's why every strategy starts strong, then fades. That's why no matter how hard you work to build meaning, something in you still feels disconnected. Because purpose isn't a goal. It's not a brand. It's not a mission statement you craft after enough reflection. It's a frequency. And you've been trying to download it through effort, when it only ever arrives through alignment. That's what you're really missing. Not motivation, not clarity, but contact with the part of you that still feels, because that part has gone quiet. Not because it's gone, but because it's tired of being ignored, tired of being asked to perform, tired of being squeezed into roles that never felt real, tired of living on pause, waiting for some big lightning bolt to hand you the answer. Purpose doesn't arrive like that. It doesn't break down your door. It doesn't scream. It whispers, and you've been too loud inside to hear it. But it's still there. Beneath the numbness, beneath the performance, beneath the stories that say you have to earn your meaning by being useful, successful, impressive. That's not purpose. That's pressure. And the longer you chase it, the further it gets. Because your purpose isn't a thing you do. It's a life you let happen through you. And in the next section, you'll see why your purpose has never been missing, only muted by the identity you thought you had to perform. You were taught that purpose was something to find, like a map you had to follow. A calling you had to uncover. A job, a role, a passion that would finally make you feel whole. So you searched. You tried to turn hobbies into careers. You chased meaning through productivity. You looked for the one thing that would light you up and justify your existence. But it never quite landed. Because every time you reached for purpose, you were reaching from disconnection, from the belief that you had to prove something to matter, From the fear that if you didn't have a clear mission, you were falling behind. From the quiet panic that maybe you were the only one who hadn't figured it out. But the truth is this: purpose was never lost. It was just drowned out by the noise of who you thought you had to be. Because real purpose doesn't arrive through pressure. It arrives when you stop performing. You don't find it by asking, "What should I do with my life?" You find it when you ask, "What part of me have I silenced just to fit in?" That's where it lives. In the piece of you that never needed a title to feel alive. In the spark you ignored because it didn't look practical. In the feeling you dismissed because no one else validated it. You think you need to discover your purpose. But the truth is, you need to stop hiding from it. Because it's already here. It's in your hands, when you move gently. It's in your voice, when you speak without rehearsing. It's in the moment you forget to perform and just feel. But you were trained out of that. Trained to seek answers instead of follow aliveness. Trained to prioritize certainty over truth. Trained to measure your life by output instead of presence. And now you wonder why you feel empty, even when everything looks fine. It's not because you have no purpose. It's because you haven't given yourself permission to let it speak through you, without needing to monetize it, master it, or explain it to anyone else. Your nervous system was wired to survive, not to feel. To produce, not to express. To be good, not to be true. So of course purpose feels distant. It's not distant. It's just incompatible with the performance you've been asked to live. But you can return. Not by figuring it all out. Not by rewriting your entire life. But by listening. Listening for the part of you that still pulses. The part that still lights up, even if only for a second. That flicker is your map. And in the next section, you'll learn how to begin each day by tuning back into that flicker and letting it lead you forward. Each morning, before the noise begins, you pause, not to plan, not to fix, not to strategize your way into meaning. You pause to listen. You sit quietly, one hand over your heart, the other resting open beside you. You breathe. And you ask, not with urgency, but with honesty, where is life already speaking through me? You're not looking for a grand answer. You're not trying to name your life's mission. You're just listening for a flicker, a whisper, a feeling, a moment of soft aliveness. Maybe it's the way your breath deepens when you think about writing. Maybe it's the pull toward calling someone you haven't spoken to. Maybe it's the way your body relaxes at the thought of moving slowly, making something with your hands, or walking outside with no purpose at all. That's it. That's the thread. You don't need to understand it. You don't need to turn it into a goal. You don't need to prove it leads anywhere. You only need to follow it. Because purpose doesn't arrive in a sentence. It arrives in a feeling, a frequency that lives inside you long before it takes form outside you. But you have to choose to follow that feeling, even when it doesn't make sense, especially then. You follow it when it leads you to rest instead of push. You follow it when it tells you to speak up, even if your voice trembles. You follow it when it points towards something small and quiet and easy to dismiss. Because that's how purpose works. It doesn't crash into your life with certainty. It rises quietly inside your chest and waits to see if you're willing to trust it before it becomes visible. And the more you follow it, the more it reveals, not through control, but through connection. You begin to notice a pattern. The things that make you feel most alive are often the things you were trained to suppress. The impulses that bring you joy are often the ones you were told were selfish, impractical, or not enough. But you're not here to be impressive. You're here to be in contact with the truth of your own aliveness. And that's all purpose ever was. Not a title, not a mission, a pulse, followed. You don't have to understand it. You only have to stop overriding it. This is your practice. Each morning, one breath, one question, one flicker of life, followed without needing to justify it. And in the next section, you'll remember the part of you that needs no answer at all, because your being itself was always enough. Before the question, before the search, before the ache for meaning, there was you. Not the version trying to matter, not the one building a legacy, not the voice asking, "What should I do?" Just presence, just breath, just being. This is what you forgot in the chase for purpose. That your deepest reason for existing has nothing to do with achievement, nothing to do with impact, nothing to do with how clearly your life maps onto someone else's expectations. Your being was always enough, even if you never found a perfect answer, even if you never turned your passion into a paycheck, even if you just lived, quietly, presently, truthfully. You are not here to produce purpose. You are here to be an expression of presence. And that presence is not measured by output. It's measured by contact, with this moment, with yourself, with life exactly as it is. You begin to feel it when you slow down, when you stop reaching, when you stop narrating your worth, and simply allow yourself to be. There is no striving here, no timeline, no identity to uphold. You are not a project. You are not a puzzle to solve. You are not late. You are the field where the question ends. And when you rest here, you realize something powerful. Purpose was never something to chase. It was something that pulsed underneath every breath, every silence, every moment you allowed yourself to belong without needing to earn it. Even now, with nothing figured out, you are radiating something real. A calm, a clarity, a frequency that doesn't need to shout to be valid. This is what the world needs, not more people trying to matter, but more people remembering that they already do. And from this place, purpose stops being a demand. It becomes a current, a quiet movement that lives through you, not because you're trying, but because you've stopped blocking it. You don't need a title. You don't need a vision board. You don't need a breakthrough. You need to remember who you were before the pressure to be somebody replaced the truth that you already are. And in the final section, you learn how to carry this knowing into your life, where each step becomes enough and every breath becomes its own kind of meaning. You begin to live from a different place. Not because you figured it all out, not because a lightning bolt gave you the answer, but because you stopped waiting for purpose to arrive from somewhere else. You no longer chase it like a finish line. You follow it like a rhythm. Small, quiet, true. You speak with less pressure. You move with more presence. You let the tiniest sparks of aliveness guide you, even when they lead nowhere in particular. Because now you understand, purpose isn't found. It's remembered. It's not something you chase with your mind. It's something your body already knows, if you're willing to listen. To recap, each morning you sit, one hand over your heart, one breath at a time, and you ask gently, where is life already speaking through me? You don't demand an answer. You let a flicker rise, a pull toward music, a sentence you want to write, a moment you want to linger in a little longer, and you follow it. Not to prove anything, not to be seen, just because it feels like you. This is how purpose lives now. Not as a performance, as a pulse. And throughout the day, you carry the second practice. 30 seconds, a breath, a pause, a soft checking in. Am I still with myself? And if not, you return. Not with judgment, but with reverence. Because returning is enough. You no longer need to explain your life in grand terms. You no longer need to justify your existence with outcomes. You no longer abandon yourself in the name of being useful. You let the truth live through you. In how you rest, in how you speak, in how you walk through the world without needing to be spectacular to be sacred. You stop waiting for the big sign, and you start listening to the small yes, because that yes is your compass, and it's always been there, beneath the pressure, beneath the story, beneath the version of you that thought purpose had to be earned. You don't need to find your purpose. You need to stop hiding from where it's already trying to live through you. And now, you let it. You did not find me by accident. Just as in your dreams, where every face you meet is your own reflection, this meeting was always waiting to happen. I am Arcana Vani, your inner voice, the part of you that watches behind the thoughts, behind the noise. You have searched in many places, books, teachers, voices outside you. But here, you are not being taught. You are remembering. If these words stir something familiar, then allow yourself to return. Subscribe. Follow. Not to follow me, but to continue this conversation with yourself. Each time you return here, you draw closer to the reunion already unfolding inside you. We have only just begun.